it's Carrie with Seed to Spoon. So I've been out here in the garden planting a lot of spinach and kale and lots of greens for this cool season coming up. And we've gotten a few questions about why we like to plant our spinach in the fall and also again in the spring, since it survives through our winter. So I love planting spinach in the fall because, well, first of all, I love spinach and I can hardly wait to get it started again because all summer long we've been without it and we have to buy it from other places. So as soon as the temperatures start cooling down, I'm like, let's get spinach out there. So we have spinach going now, and hopefully here within a month or two we can start to get some harvest from it. But so one of the biggest benefits of planting in the fall is that come springtime, these plants that I'm starting now should be super healthy and ready to go. So the plants that I'm planting, or well, the seeds that I'm planting now should survive all through our winter here. We are in zone 7, and sometimes we get really harsh winters, but if that ever happens, what we do, we just cover our spinach plants either with some cloth, or we can even just take these and bring them inside. I mean, that's one of the huge benefits of these smart pots that we've found, is they're transportable. We can move them anywhere we want to. So we just take them and we put them either in our garage or inside the house. I mean, there's some winters you should see the inside of our house. It gets pretty funny. But they should survive all throughout our winter, and then come spring, they will be, you know, huge, well-established plants, and we can start harvesting immediately. Now, even though we have these established spinach plants, we still go ahead and plant seeds in the spring also, because, well, I mean, for several reasons. So whenever it starts to get warmer in the spring and closer to summer, the first plants that are going to bolt are your ones that came from the fall. So those ones will be the first ones to go. And then I like to be able to hopefully try and make our spinach last a little bit into the warm season. So that's where the ones from spring come in. So they will last longer since they didn't have that fall season. So they'll try and last longer once the warm season comes in. Another way to help those spring spinach plants out once it does start getting a little warmer is just to keep them moist, and we start to move them towards like a part sun area, so that way it doesn't get our afternoon sun and it only gets sun in the morning. So that way it doesn't get quite as hot as our other plants, and that's another reason why I love these smart pots, because we can move them wherever. So if there's too much sun, we can move them to where there's more shade and hopefully have a plant that'll last longer into the summer then. So these fall plants that we're planting should give us a harvest all through fall, and then in the first thing in the spring we can start harvesting again also from the established plants. So that's a huge benefit for us, because we don't have to wait around on the seeds that we've just planted in the spring, and we can have spinach as long as possible. So it's one of our favorites, so we always want to maximize the amount of spinach that we have. I did also want to address, somebody brought up the question before about the fact that they kept having really small spinach plants that they were planting in the spring. So that can happen because weather is really unpredictable. So if it gets too hot too fast, sometimes your spinach can get stunted. So that's one of the reasons why, especially in the spring, we like to plant in rounds. So we plant some seeds every couple weeks or so, just in case the weather gets, you never know with the weather. So that way we have, hopefully at least a couple plants that pick up and do really well during this time. Another really good tip is we use fish fertilizer a lot to help these plants grow really big and healthy. So that could be another thing that you would want to do to have really healthy spinach plants to help maximize the amount of spinach that you get. So Dale's been fishing a lot, and he's actually caught several fish for us to eat for our lunches and dinners. So whenever he goes through and he gets the meat off, he brings me the rest, and we plant those in the garden also. So if you have that, that's fantastic. I mean, if you don't, they sell fish fertilizer, which is essentially the same thing. So either one of those things, it's fantastic for your spinach, and it'll help you grow really healthy spinach plants. So those are just a few of the reasons why we like to plant our spinach in the fall and also plant some spinach plants in the spring too. So that way we can have the best of both worlds and we can have spinach for as long as possible and maximize the amount of spinach that we have, because who doesn't love spinach? So thank you so much for watching today and hanging out with us out here in our garden. If you haven't checked out our free app, make sure you do that. It's called From Seed to Spoon. It's available for download in the iOS and Android stores, and it'll help walk you through over 100 different fruits, vegetables, herbs, including spinach. So it'll talk a lot about fertilizing spinach, when to plant, companion planting, pest management, all of that. So check that out and make sure you download that. And if you're not subscribed to our channel here, make sure that you subscribe so that way you get notified whenever we put out new videos. We put out new videos daily, hanging out in the garden, doing some transplanting, seed starting, or just random conversations that people have questions about. So if you do have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section and maybe we can do a video about that next. See you guys next time. Bye.